Hey everybody, episode 21, the very last episode of 2025. I didn't know if I was gonna make it, y'all. I didn't know if I was gonna make it. When I tell you I'm proud, ooh wee, I'm so proud of myself. It was hard. You know that when Snoop Dogg went up there, I forget what award show, and he was like, "I like to thank myself for working so hard and pushing through." That's how I feel right now because, of course, there are a bunch of people that I'm so appreciative of that showed me so much, taught me so much. But man, it took a lot. I had to have the courage to stick it out. So I like to thank myself for pushing through and getting through it and almost being done with this school year, my first semester as an AP. Listen. Wow. It was a lot. I can't articulate what it was, but it was a lot. I'm really happy though because look at my hat. I'm 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 dressed for the occasion, y'all. It is almost 2026. I got on a Santa hat. I got on my Happy New Year hat. Um, I'm kind of see-through because I'm wearing green and that's okay. My shirt is a little see-through and I don't care. It's almost 2026. And so we doing it big. I don't feel like changing. This is what we're gonna do. So here we are, Breckenridge green shirt. Y'all are getting this today. This is what y'all are getting. I have to tell you, this is one of the years that I'm most proud of in my life. I, there have been a lot that I've been through in my days, but this year right here, 2025, when people say, "Oh, it was a roller coaster," that part, it was a lot of that because sometimes it's like often there's many things that are different and everything, but this one, it was like I made some decisions that caused different things to happen and I pushed myself in ways that I have never pushed myself. And that connects to, the whole theme of this episode, which is playing to win. We plan to win in 2026. Playing to win. That connects to, Brene Brown's book, Strong Ground, that I've been reading. And there's a part, I believe, in chapter 7 when she's talking about the difference between playing not to lose and playing to win. We're not playing not to lose anymore. We are playing to win. We're going to dig into that. We're going to dig into it. But first, a quick chat about these holiday parties. I love a holiday party. I like to be, you know, a little bit out of my comfort zone at least once a year. If you know me, then you know I am perfectly fine being on my own, by myself, hanging out. I like me. I think I'm great. I can sit there the whole day and be just fine. And I'll go to a restaurant, I'll go to the movies, I'll go to the mall. I can window shop alone and be just fine the whole day. The introvert in me is fine with it. But as a leader, I understand the importance of having to interact, having to connect. And so I have pushed myself over the years to do that because I knew that it was a necessity if I wanted to grow as a leader. So at these holiday parties, you got to step outside of your comfort zone. If you always sit with the third grade team, don't sit with the third grade team. Try to sit with somebody else or talk to one other person that you don't normally talk to, right? If you tend to not participate in the games, get up, go play one of the games. What's the worst that could happen? You lose? There is no losing. It's a holiday party. Just go up there, try your best, and keep it moving. And you might be like, "Oh, well, some people are really competitive." So let them be competitive. Let them on some Mel Robbins. Okay. Let them. Please just have a good time and make connections. So at my holiday party, it was the very first one of the first times I had to interact with staff on a less formal level. And it was fun to see them in that way and get to know them in that way. And it was at a staff member's house, and I just appreciated them opening up their home, and I just felt a little bit more connected to them in that moment because we were outside of the school building, so it's nice to be able to just chill and hang out with people as humans, not as staff members, not as colleagues. We're just humans eating cookies, having fun. That's a good time. So take those staff parties as an opportunity just to see each other as something other than somebody you work with. They're another human that you might learn something about or from by hanging out with them at this party. It's important to go, and it can be powerful because you want to show up to the party first of all instead of skipping it. We could come up with a million reasons why we don't want to go to the staff party. A million reasons. Yep. Some people might say it's too far, or it's too expensive if you had to pay, or it's boring. I don't like to go because it's boring. Okay, well, those are all excuses. So then you could say to yourself, what could you do to make it not that? Because if you're like, oh, it's too far and it's too expensive, get on the committee and committee things. Meaning, why don't you bring forward some ideas that are not as far, that are not as expensive, right? And if it's boring, once again, put in the effort to suggest some ways to make it not boring. Here's a game we can play, y'all. What about we try this? Have y'all tried this before? This might be fun. Put in your 2 cents rather than sitting back and saying, I don't like holiday parties because of XYZ. Change them. Change the holiday party to suit what you would like it to be. Get on the committee. That's going to be another motto. That's going to be another motto for 2026. When you hear the complaints, you know what? Get on the committee. That would be good. You should get on the committee. And so another reason that you should go to the holiday party is that you need to choose connection over comfort. Connection over comfort. Again, I'm fully comfortable alone. I can be with just me. It's like 3 people in the world that I can be like, oh yeah, me and her, or he and I, we can rock together anywhere, anytime. But it's like 3 people. It's not a lot. My circle's very small. I have a lot of acquaintances, but not like a ton of friends, right? I am acquainted with lots of people. And I would even say that I trust a few people, right? Quite a few people, but not a lot. But I wouldn't say that I'm on that level with a lot of people. No. And so it's not comfortable to go to the party and put yourself out there and ask questions and get to know people. I mean, that's the only way you build connection. And another thing that I've been really trying to work on that some of my closest friends are really good at and that I admire in them is their ability to listen and remember what people say to them. Because it's like somebody can tell me their name and 2 minutes later, I'm like, dang, what was their name? I really have to work on that. My memory of the things. I've gotten better, but yeah, you try to remember what people tell you about themselves because that builds connection. You can do that at the holiday party. Another thing would be, creating some joy instead of just saying, check, I went, right? Compliance. Don't go to the holiday party for compliance. Don't do that. I'm just going so I don't get fined. I'm just going so they don't say that I wasn't a team player. I'm just going so I don't have to hear about it later. No, go and try to create the joy that you want. If it would make you happier that the food was better, get on the committee and decide, hey, what if we had this kind of food? Because last year it wasn't it. We need some food that tastes better. Great suggestion. Let's do that. Let's try it. Get on the committee. Okay? Go to the holiday party. Try to have a good time. Encourage others to have a good time, right? There's always going to be those people that's going to sit off and everybody does this. You sit off on the side and you whisper a little bit. There's a little negativity. Be like, look at John. John always got something to say, right? It's always going to be that. We are humans, and that's honestly part of the fun. We're going to giggle, we're going to cackle, and most likely we're going to walk up to John and say, John, we were just talking about you and how negative you are. Why are you so sad, John? Like, that's part of the holiday fun. So build those connections. Have that fun. Go to the holiday party. And if it's not something that you like to do, what I'm going to tell you, get on the committee. Yep, get on the committee. All right, so moving into our Playing to Win episode, the last episode of 2025. We are really focusing on that Strong Ground book by Brene Brown. It's good, y'all. If you have not read Strong Ground, and I'm not even done, but if you haven't read it, I need you to catch up. It is great. It's one of those books that you're reading and you think to yourself, whoa, wait, what that, let me read that again. Or let me rewind and listen to that again. It's that good. She was dropping gems all over the place. But I'm just focusing on this one for now. The playing not to lose versus playing to win. So what does playing not to lose look like? Playing not to lose looks like avoiding hard conversations. You know something needs to be said. Rather than talking about it, you just avoid it. You just say, oh, well, don't worry about it. It'll go away. It doesn't go away. Another thing would be staying quiet just to keep the peace. Once again, a lot of times, even in a meeting, you don't speak up if you're playing not to lose. You're like, well, if I say something that goes against the grain, or if I ask a question, somebody might get upset and it's not going to keep the peace. We're not in the business of keeping the peace. We're in the business of growing our students. It's not really about the peace. It's about the growth, right? So let's think of it from that lens. We have to build a culture of working together and being open enough to be able to rumble. That's what she calls it. That's what Brene calls it. It's called rumbling. You should be able to do that in your meetings at any point. And then another way to play not to lose is playing it safe to avoid criticism. So if you try something new, it's possible that it's not going to go well. And then other people are going to say, hey, that didn't go well. Look at the outcome. But I'm learning it's better to try something new and have it fail and have it not go well than to just sit back and rest on your laurels on what you think works every time. You have to try something new, and you have to be daring. You have to be willing to step outside of what you deem to be the norm. You have to. And then another way to play not to lose would be leading from fear of getting it wrong. Again, you can't be scared. It's easy to do. I was in my role all of one day and the fear crept in. I was like, yo, what did I get myself into? It was a lot, and it was scary. I can use the word scary. Yeah, it was scary. Yes. And there were other times in this year before I even changed roles that were scary. They were, because it was something that I hadn't done before. And maybe it was a certain, type of teacher that I hadn't coached before. Or maybe it was a conversation with a boss that I have never had before and never thought I would ever have to have before. All of that happened in 2025. But when I tell you I feel stronger and I know for a fact that I have grown from it, that's why. It's because I was playing to win. You do not grow and you do not win if you don't step outside of that comfort zone. So how do you play to win? You got to lead with clarity and courage. If you have been in the situations that I've been in, clarity is like one of those words that might make you cringe just a little bit, but it just means you need to know what you're talking about and know where you're going. What do you want? What's the point? Be clear. What do we want? What are we trying to do, and how are we trying to do it? Be clear. And everybody needs to be on the same page with that. What do we want? And where are we trying to go, and how are we going to get there? Everybody needs to be on the same page. And then you got to have courage. That word is going to be plastered. It's in my office in a couple of places because it's so important. Courage will get you where you should be so that kids can get where they should be. They got to have it too. But if you don't model it and if you don't have it, then it's hard to get them there. So clarity and courage are huge if you're trying to play to win. Another way to play to win. Name what matters, even when it's uncomfortable. Yeah, I've had to do that. When you talk about what matters, a lot of people don't like culture to be at the top of the list. It is really hard to lead any organization if the culture is not good. If your culture isn't where it needs to be, you got to get it there. It is almost impossible to do what you need to do, to have transformation if the culture is suffering. You got to get the culture right. And one way to get the culture right is to get everybody on the same page. Be clear. What are we doing? How are we doing it? Why are we doing it? Okay? So that we can all be moving in the same direction. I think what Brene says is like you're in the boat and you're all paddling in the same direction. Otherwise, this one over here paddling on the left side, this one over here is kind of paddling backwards on the right side. And then that one up there is like trying to count, but they're off counting. And then that one in the back is not even paddling at all, but telling other people to paddle. It's just off. And you just end up kind of going in circles and you're not really getting anywhere. And that builds frustration. And that really doesn't get the results that anybody wants. We don't want that. So make sure you name what matters. And if what matters is the fact that we're not clear, everyone is not on the same page, say that. Call that out, name it, and fix it. Do that. Another way to play to win is investing in people and relationships. Investing in people and relationships. Let me see what Brene said. Okay. Brene was talking about the fact that you cannot lead people if you don't invest in them. So you have to, let me see exactly what I told y'all I took notes because I forget the things. Well, she did say what is mission critical is mission clarity. You cannot lead if it's not clear, so clear, crystal clear to everyone what they're doing, why they're doing it, how they're doing it. You must have that. But I'm going to scroll up, talked about galvanizing teamwork and striving for growth. Teamwork means you're going to have to work with other people. In order to work with other people, you have to trust each other. You have to be able to say the decisions they make are going to support the vision that we all have and the direction that we're all trying to go. And they should feel the exact same way about you. And you should be courageous enough to know that what you do and decisions that you make are going to move the team forward. That's what teamwork is. She uses a lot of sports analogy, and she talked about how the quarterback of a football team, one of the most important things that they have is pocket presence. The really good ones have good pocket presence. So they can sense from the left, they can sense from the right, in front, what's coming at them, and they can make quick decisions based on that. They can read what's in front of them before they even hike the ball. They can already tell, like, oh, I'm diagnosing an issue right here. And they might even call an audible for you non-sports folks. An audible means we gonna change the plan on the spot. So we call an audible and say, instead of what we plan to do, we're gonna do this. As you should. Call those audibles, because if you see that what you planned to do isn't gonna work, don't do it. Do something different. Do not work according to plan. Work according to need. What needs to happen? So then she said, making bold and values aligned decisions. Bold means it might not be popular. It means it may not have been done before. You might be the first person that makes that decision. At least you're trying something. If you can explain and express how that decision is going to make a difference, then try it. Try it. I don't think anyone would say, just stick to what you know. Just keep on doing what you've been doing. Well, if what you've been doing isn't working, don't do that. Don't do that. Stop doing that, because it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Okay, listen to what she says about when you play not to lose and what it promotes. If you play not to lose, it promotes increased complacency. Hey, everybody, we're doing all right. We cool. Nobody is like super failing. It's fine. So we can just keep doing what we're doing. You don't think that you should try a little harder, like, to grow the kids? You're just fine with where they're at right now? No, that's not okay. And especially your kids that are already got it. Your high, what they call quote unquote high kids. Listen, if they've already got it, then you still need to be pushing them to go deeper. If they're ready to do that, do that. They have to grow too. All the kids have to grow. So what is it that's keeping you complacent? Playing not to lose. That's what it is. And then another thing that playing not to lose promotes would be working to plan instead of working to potential. If students are able to do better, which they are, then you help them do better. Work to potential, not to plan. Then you have negative emotional contagion. If there is somebody that is always negative, no matter what, that is contagious. It's like a yawn. Negativity is a yawn, because the moment somebody does it, it's like the person right next to them is like, oh, me too. Even if they didn't mean to, or even if they weren't even thinking about it that way, it happens. And so you have to know that happens, and you have to be so self-aware that you know that it's happening and you can feel yourself doing it so that you can combat it. There's also risk aversion. If you're playing not to lose, that means I'm not about to get up here and try that. I'm not going to lose. You can forget that. Well, then it's really hard to win because you didn't even try. Increased bureaucracy. That means, and I can say bureaucracy. Can I say bureaucracy? I said it a couple times. Okay, I can't say it. So that just means those that are giving direction have more direction. It's like a micromanagement. So playing not to lose has a lot of that. It's like there's no trust in your ability. This is not what we want. We want to be able to trust. So playing to win promotes taking risk rather than micromanaging and doing things a specific certain way. And then it also promotes deeper dependency on hierarchy. Well, I'm at this level and this is my title, so I'm the one that has to do it. Really? That it's like sometimes that gets in the way of the movement. We can't move because we're so stuck in position. It doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't. Move around. Move around. So if you're stuck on a deeper dependency on hierarchy, then that results in these silos. And then the silos become the default. Okay, so y'all over there and y'all do this. And y'all over there and y'all do that. And y'all over there and y'all can only do this. Do not touch that. It's like, dang, okay, well, if we're a team and it's supposed to be teamwork, shouldn't we be like communicating with one another so that I know what's going on over there, they know what's going on over here, and they know what's going over here, so that we're all clearly moving in the same direction. There should be some sort of connection, some connecting piece to what we're doing. If not, that silo stuff, it builds frustration because there's confusion that comes into play because it's like it's unclear what's happening and why. And it doesn't have to be that way. And then another thing that playing not to lose promotes is that this sense of urgency, it gets diluted. Now now there's no sense of urgency because people start to protect what was successful in the past rather than fighting what could be successful in the future. Rather than fighting for what could be successful later, you fight to protect what was successful in the past. That keeps you stuck. You cannot grow like that. We don't want to be focused on, well, this worked in the past, so let's do that. Well, times have changed. Students have changed. Let's change too. We have to grow our kids, so we have to be able to grow as well. And so getting on the same page with that is so important. She asks a really good question. She says, what's our next great dare? What do you dare to try so that we can get kids where they need to be in 2026? I'm excited about it. I really am. And so she also says, this is what got me. This is one of those things where I read it and then I heard her say it and I was like, oh, say it one more time, Brene. She said, micromanagement is driven by distressed and compliance-driven mindsets and feelings or leaders. There is no courage without vulnerability. You have to be willing to share and show that this is a little scary. Yes, this is kind of the unknown, but we're going to try something new. She talks about how she, part of the research they did involved working with the armed forces. And so I think she said it was the Army or maybe even the Air Force, but she was talking to them and she asked a question. She says, raise your hand or stand up and share if you've ever had to show courage without vulnerability. Share one time when you showed courage without vulnerability. And each and every time that she had that conversation, nobody was able to share until she said one time, one soldier stood up and he said, ma'am, it's impossible. You cannot have courage without vulnerability. And it was like, ding, ding, ding. Yeah, it's really hard to be courageous without being vulnerable. You have to face head on the fact that this is scary, the fact that this is new, the fact that we're going to have to get uncomfortable. Yep. And it takes courage to do that. They go hand in hand, vulnerability and courage. So listening to her book, I'm writing down all kinds of things. I'm like, oh my gosh. It's good, y'all. It's really, really good. So I wanted to talk about the present because we've talked about the past a little bit. And so, when I think about the past, all the things that happened in 2025, man, I think about now the present. It taught us that playing not to lose can cost us a lot. And it costs more. It's way more expensive than we think it is. Because if you keep doing the same thing again and again, you're going to keep getting the same result, if not worse ones. So we don't want to cost connection. We don't want to cost growth. We don't want to cost joy. And we don't want to cost impact. That's what playing not to lose does. It's very expensive. Very expensive. So instead of doing that, we have to focus on how we're playing to win. So you have to create a space where people feel safe to try. They have to feel safe to try to win. They have to have the trust in one another and themselves to try to win. And they have to be ready to thrive in the win. That means they might even have to share how they won with other people. So it's important we work toward that. Presently, there are rumblings right now. There's all kinds of thoughts and conversations around what's happening to win. And that's really exciting. I'm talking about in my personal life. I'm talking about in my professional life. You have to have that thought process. I think in a lot of different areas of society, there's been, a lot of playing not to lose rather than playing to win. And hopefully that strategy shifts a little bit so that we can figure out how to move forward, not backward or stay in the same place. And that brings us to our playing to win in 2026 tip of the week. This week's tip of the week is make and keep your New Year's resolution. Make and keep your New Year's resolution. So this year, you need to make a resolution that is rooted in playing to win. How do we do that? Okay. 4 things that you can do to make sure your New Year's resolution is rooted in playing to win is 1, choose a goal that is exciting to you, not just one that's safe. Choose a goal that is exciting, something you can wake up and be like, okay, ready to hit this goal. 2, tie your goal to your values. What do you value? Make sure whatever goal you choose is connected to that. 3, break it into small, brave actions. Whatever your goal is, if you say, I'm going to try to run 10 miles a week, okay, because you find it valuable to be more healthy, great. Hopefully that's exciting to you. If you're breaking that into a small, brave action, that means some days you're going to have to run more than a mile. If you haven't done that before, you're going to have to get brave and break it down. Maybe you're going to run the first week a mile and then walk the rest for that day. And then the next day you can run a mile and then walk the rest again. And then the next day you might run a mile and a half and then walk the rest. And then the next day you might just run the mile. So make sure you break it into small actions, but be brave about it. Keep pushing. And then lastly, commit to consistency, not comfort. Consistency is what can help you move forward. It's not easy always to be consistent. Doing this podcast is an example of me trying to be consistent because it can be hard sometimes. Things come up, but as much as possible, commit to consistency, not comfort. Man, if we committed to comfort, what would we be missing out on? Man, I wouldn't know some of the most beautiful people I've ever met if I committed to comfort instead of consistency. So I think that we need to keep these 4 steps in mind, these 4 guidelines to our New Year's resolution in mind. 1, choose a goal that excites you, not just one that feels safe. 2, tie it to your values. 3, break it into small, brave actions. And 4, commit to consistency, not comfort. Okay? Winning doesn't mean you never fail. It just means you show up fully. You're in it. That's winning. So I want everyone out there to party like it's 2026. You're going to play to win. You're going to choose courage each and every day. And I want you to rediscover your joy, embrace your true self in 2026. Let them see you. Bye. See y'all in 2026. Thanks for listening to Let Them See You. Until next time, climb with courage, stand in the light, let them see you.